You've seen the Taj Mahal in 1,000 photos. But did you know there's a temple complex nearby with carvings so explicit they were hidden from Western visitors for centuries? Or that there's a city in India where dawn boat rides allow you to witness ancient funeral rituals unchanged for over 4,000 years? India isn't just a country. It's an entire universe of experiences most travelers never discover. Today, I'm revealing 15 destinations that go far beyond the typical tourist path. Places where ancient traditions, extraordinary architecture, and breathtaking landscapes combine to create experiences impossible to find anywhere else on Earth. Did you know that deep in the heart of Madhya Pradesh lies a collection of temples that challenge our modern perceptions of ancient culture? Khajuraho, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, houses magnificent 10th-century temples adorned with sculptures that have shocked and fascinated visitors for generations. Built between 950 and 1050 CE by the Kandra dynasty, these architectural marvels remained hidden from the world for centuries, swallowed by dense jungle vegetation until their chance discovery by British officer T.S. Burt in 1838. What makes Khajuraho truly remarkable isn't just the explicit carvings that often dominate conversations about this site. Of the original 85 temples, only 20 have survived the ravages of time, each telling complex stories through stone. The sculptures portray musicians playing instruments, farmers tending to their fields, and teachers instructing students, everyday scenes that provide windows into medieval Indian life. The mythological narratives depict gods and goddesses in various poses, while meditation scenes showcase the spiritual practices of the ERA. The famous erotic sculptures, comprising about 10% of the carvings, represent something far deeper than mere decoration. According to Tantric philosophy, these explicit representations symbolize the path to spiritual liberation through the transcendence of physical desire. When you walk among these temples, you're not just observing ancient art, you're confronting your own cultural conditioning about the relationship between spirituality and sexuality. The Western world often separates the physical from the spiritual, the sacred from the profane. But at Khajuraho, these artificial divisions dissolve. As you move from temple to temple, witnessing scenes of divine beings. Alongside intimate human moments, you begin to understand that the ancient Indian civilization viewed existence as an integrated whole, the cosmic and the mundane, the spiritual and the sensual. All were considered legitimate aspects of the human experience, worthy of artistic celebration and philosophical contemplation. From the spiritual union at Khajuraho, we travel to a different kind of immortalized connection at the Taj Mahal. This gleaming white marvel appears perfectly symmetrical to the human eye, but hidden within its meticulous design are deliberate asymmetries, architectural secrets that create the illusion of perfection while challenging what we believe we're seeing. The Taj Mahal stands as Emperor Shah Jahan's extraordinary tribute to his beloved wife, Taj Mahal, who died in 1631 while giving birth to their 14th child. What began as grief transformed into a 22-year architectural journey involving 20,000 workers who created what would become the world's most recognized symbol of eternal love. What makes this monument truly remarkable is how it seems to change its very essence throughout the day. Visit at dawn and you'll witness the pristine marble take on a delicate pink hue. Return at sunset to see it bathed in golden light. And if you're fortunate enough to see it under a full moon, you'll understand why poets have struggled for centuries to describe its ethereal pearly white glow, as if the marble itself breathes with memory. The architectural masterpiece spans 42 acres, seamlessly blending Persian, Islamic, and Indian design elements. Artisans created intricate inlays using semi-precious stones through a technique called pietra dura, with materials sourced from across Rajasthan and beyond. The white marble itself came from Makrana, known for its exceptional purity. But the Taj Mahal's story contains profound sadness alongside its beauty. After creating this monument to love, Shah Jahan was imprisoned by his son Aurangzeb in Agra Fort. For the final years of his life, he could only gaze at his wife's memorial from a distance through a small window. Adding a poignant chapter to what was already an extraordinary testament to devotion. From Shah Jahan's monument of eternal love, we journey to a place where an entire cityscape wears a shade of welcome. Jaipur, the capital of Rajasthan, stands as India's first planned city, established in 1727 by Maharaja Sawai Jai Singh II, following ancient Vedic architectural principles. But what truly sets it apart is its distinctive color, a warm terracotta pink that bathes nearly every building in the Old Quarter, a tradition that began in 1876, when the entire city was painted to welcome Queen Victoria and the Prince of Wales. Walking through Jaipur reveals a fascinating dance between royal heritage and everyday Indian life. On one street, you might witness a traditional elephant procession while luxury cars glide by, embodying the delicate balance between centuries-old customs and modern development that defines contemporary India. The city's crown jewel, Hawa Mahal, or Palace of Wines, features an extraordinary honeycomb facade with over 950 small windows. These weren't merely decorative. They served a specific purpose, allowing royal women to observe street festivals and everyday life without being seen themselves, while simultaneously creating a natural cooling effect in the desert heat. Just a short distance away stands Jantar Mantar, an 18th-century astronomical observatory. Its massive instruments, including the Samrat Yantra, can measure time with remarkable precision within just 2 seconds, a testament to the advanced knowledge that flourished here long before modern technology. Jaipur functions as a living museum of traditional crafts. As you explore its winding streets, you'll encounter artisans practicing blue pottery, block printing, and jewelry making, using techniques passed down through generations. Many have adapted their ancient skills to modern markets, while preserving the essence of their craft traditions. The sensory experience of navigating Jaipur's bazaars creates lasting memories. Vibrant textiles in every imaginable hue, the aromatic scent of spices, the rhythmic sounds of artisans at work, and the distinctive flavors of local specialties like Pyaz Kachori, a spicy onion-filled pastry that exemplifies the region's culinary heritage. From the sensory delights of Jaipur, we journey to a place where history doesn't just exist in museums. It crashes into the present with striking intensity. Delhi stands as a living timeline where 7 ancient civilizations are compressed into one modern metropolis. Walking through its streets is like traveling through time itself, with each neighborhood revealing a different century and cultural influence that shaped the Indian subcontinent. As India's capital, Delhi embodies stark contrasts that tell the story of a nation. Navigate the labyrinthine alleyways of Old Delhi by rickshaw, where the scent of sizzling kebabs mingles with incense from nearby temples. Then emerge onto the wide, tree-lined boulevards of New Delhi, designed by British architect Edwin Lutyens. The transition is jarring, from chaotic marketplaces to orderly government buildings, from centuries-old Mughal architecture to gleaming glass skyscrapers. Humayun's tomb stands as a magnificent UNESCO World Heritage Site that preceded and inspired the Taj Mahal. While the towering Qutub Minar reaches 73 meters into the sky as the world's tallest brick minaret. Beyond these famous landmarks lie hidden gems like Agrasen Ki Baoli, a 14th century stepwell, and Tughlaqabad Fort with its massive stone walls, architectural treasures that speak to Delhi's layered past. The city's religious diversity is on full display at Gurudwara Bangla Sahib, where the Sikh community kitchen serves free meals to thousands daily, and at the striking Lotus Temple, where Baha'i worshippers welcome visitors of all faiths. These sacred spaces coexist within a metropolis grappling with modern challenges: severe pollution, rapid urbanization, and intense traffic congestion. Delhi's food scene offers perhaps the most accessible way to experience India's diversity. In a single day, you can savor Mughlai biryani in the shadow of Jama Masjid, enjoy South Indian dosas at specialty restaurants, and sample chaat and parathas from street vendors. The culinary exploration of Chandni Chowk alone could occupy an entire visit, with each lane specializing in different regional delicacies. Beyond Delhi's culinary kaleidoscope lies a city where mortality isn't hidden away, but celebrated openly. Varanasi, also known as Benares or Kashi, is considered by Hindus to be the cosmic center of the universe, a place where the veil between life and death thins to transparency. This ancient city, one of the world's oldest continuously inhabited settlements, sits majestically along the sacred Ganges River, where funeral pyres have burned without interruption for millennia. Each morning as the sun rises, the city awakens in layers. Board a wooden boat before dawn and drift along the Ganges to witness an ancient rhythm unfolding. The Ghats, stone steps leading to the river, come alive with pilgrims performing ritual ablutions, believing the sacred waters wash away sins. Meanwhile, at the burning ghats, families gather for cremation ceremonies, bringing their deceased loved ones for a final journey. The body is first bathed in the river waters before being placed on a wooden pyre, the ashes eventually scattered into the Ganges. This ritual, largely unchanged for thousands of years, is believed to break the cycle of reincarnation, allowing the soul to achieve liberation. As evening approaches, the air fills with incense and anticipation at Dashashwamedh Ghat. The Ganga Aarti ceremony begins at sunset, where priests perform synchronized rituals with fire and smoke. Chanting and singing blend with the rhythmic movement of large ceremonial lamps, creating a mesmerizing spectacle that draws hundreds of spectators nightly. Beyond the riverfront rituals, Varanasi's old city reveals itself as a labyrinth of narrow alleyways housing over 2,000 temples. The Kashi Vishwanath Temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva, stands as one of Hinduism's holiest shrines, attracting millions of devotees annually. Navigating these ancient passages often leads to unexpected encounters with sadhus, holy men whose ascetic practices and distinctive appearance embody traditional spiritual disciplines. For many Western travelers, Varanasi provokes profound emotional reactions. The open display of cremation challenges deeply held taboos about death and cleanliness. The Ganges itself presents a paradox: spiritually pure, yet environmentally compromised by pollution and over-extraction. These contradictions force visitors to confront their own cultural assumptions and mortality in ways few other destinations can match. At the convergence of spiritual pursuit and natural splendor sits Rishikesh, where the Ganges runs pure and pristine as it descends from its Himalayan source. This sacred town nestled in the foothills has drawn seekers for centuries, but gained international recognition when 4 mop-topped musicians from Liverpool arrived at Maharishi Mahesh Yogi's ashram in 1968, forever linking this ancient spiritual center with modern Western consciousness. Today, Rishikesh embodies a fascinating duality. Traditional yogic practices handed down through generations exist alongside newer interpretations catering to international visitors. Here, saffron-robed sadhus share the riverside with Western travelers clutching yoga mats and smartphones, each pursuing their own version of enlightenment against the backdrop of temple bells and rushing water. The heart of any Rishikesh experience lies in its numerous ashrams, each offering different approaches to yoga and meditation. Some maintain rigorous traditional practices while others incorporate modern wellness trends, creating a spectrum of spiritual opportunities. Most visitors find themselves drawn to the evening Ganga Aarti at Parmarth Niketan, where the flickering lights of countless oil lamps illuminate faces of both locals and travelers, unified in witnessing this ancient devotional ceremony. For those interested in cultural history, the abandoned Beatles ashram provides a hauntingly beautiful exploration. The atmospheric meditation domes stand like silent witnesses to spiritual quests, past and present, now adorned with colorful graffiti left by visitors, a physical representation of how ancient practices continue evolving through new interpretations. Rishikesh isn't solely about introspection, though. The surrounding area offers exhilarating whitewater rafting on the Ganges rapids and treks to secluded waterfalls, providing a perfect counterbalance to meditation sessions. This blend of contemplative practice and physical challenge creates a uniquely holistic experience. What makes Rishikesh particularly valuable for young travelers is the space it creates for authentic self-discovery. Away from the constant demands of everyday life, visitors often report transformative experiences attributed to the serene environment, the spiritual energy of the Ganges, and the opportunity to disconnect from external pressures. From the spiritual serenity of Rishikesh, our journey now takes us south to a landscape where history and geology collide in the most spectacular way. Among the surreal boulder fields of southern India lies Hampi, the forgotten capital of the Vijayanagara Empire that once rivaled Rome in wealth and grandeur. What makes Hampi truly extraordinary is the dreamlike quality of its setting. Massive granite boulders, formed through volcanic activity and erosion over millions of years, create a surreal landscape unlike anywhere else in India. These ancient stones don't just frame the ruins, they're integrated into them, providing natural fortifications that once helped protect this mighty empire from invaders. As you explore this vast 16-square-mile UNESCO site, you'll discover architectural marvels that have withstood the test of time. The Vitala Temple complex stands as the crown jewel of Hampi, featuring its famous stone chariot and musical pillars that produce distinctly different tones when gently tapped. Nearby, the imposing Virupaksha Temple continues its religious function. Even after 1,400 years, its towering Gopura, gateway, standing sentinel over the sacred landscape. What's fascinating about Hampi is how it attracts such diverse visitors. The main archaeological zone draws history enthusiasts and pilgrims studying ancient sculptures and temple architecture. Meanwhile, across the river, the laid-back atmosphere of Hippie Island beckons backpackers seeking adventure amid the rocky terrain. The experience of exploring Hampi is inherently physical. You'll find yourself scrambling up boulders for panoramic sunset views, discovering hidden shrines tucked between granite formations, and feeling the weight of history as you walk among structures that once housed royalty and religious ceremonies. Leaving behind the surreal landscape of Hampi's ancient boulders, we now drift into Kerala's emerald arteries, where water replaces stone as the defining element of the landscape. After scrambling across Hampi's granite formations, imagine now simply reclining on a wooden deck as life unfolds along verdant shorelines at its own unhurried pace. The Kerala backwaters form an intricate network of interconnected waterways, stretching nearly 900 kilometers along India's southwestern coast. This aquatic labyrinth serves as the lifeblood for countless communities where daily existence revolves around these canals much as it has for centuries. Gliding through on a converted ketavalam, traditional rice barges, now repurposed as floating accommodations, you'll witness a way of life that remains largely unchanged despite modern influences creeping in. What makes this journey special isn't dramatic landscapes or ancient monuments, but rather the intimate glimpse into rural Kerala. As your boat moves silently through narrow channels, you'll observe families tending to coconut groves that line the shores, fishermen skillfully casting Chinese nets at dawn, and children in crisp school uniforms waving enthusiastically from the banks. The rhythm of life here follows the gentle bobbing of water against wooden hulls. This region faces its own challenges, however. Agricultural run-off and increasing tourism threaten the delicate ecosystem that supports both wildlife and livelihoods. For travelers seeking authentic experiences, venturing to less visited areas around Kumarakom and Punamada offers glimpses of backwater life away from more commercialized routes. The architecture visible from your floating vantage point tells the story of Kerala's unique cultural blend. Hindu temples share the shoreline with churches and mosques, a physical testament to centuries of peaceful coexistence between diverse faith traditions. From Kerala's peaceful waterways, we now turn to a shoreline where worlds literally collide. What happens when Portuguese colonial influence meets Indian traditions for over 4 centuries? The answer lies in Goa's golden beaches, where churches stand beside temples and European plazas, open onto vibrant spice markets. Goa might be India's smallest state, but its cultural footprint looms large. For 450 years, Portuguese colonizers shaped everything from the architecture to the cuisine, creating something neither fully European nor traditionally Indian. This coastal paradise exists as a fascinating contradiction, a place where visitors can meditate at sunrise yoga sessions and dance until dawn at beach parties on the very same day. The flavors of Goa tell this story of cultural fusion most deliciously. Local chefs transform pork into fiery vindaloo, infuse coconut into rich sakuti curries, and create sweet layers of babinka dessert. Each dish represents the perfect marriage between Portuguese cooking techniques and Indian spices, utilizing local seafood and rice in ways neither culture would have discovered alone. As you travel, Goa's coastline, the beaches themselves reveal distinct personalities. Northern beaches like Baga and Kalangut pulse with energy, their shores lined with beach shacks playing electronic music and serving cold beer. Head south to Aganda and Palolem, however, and you'll discover tranquil stretches of sand, where yoga retreats and meditation centers create spaces for reflection rather than revelry. This cultural blending extends beyond tourism. Since the 1960s, Goa has attracted those seeking alternative lifestyles, from hippie communities to spiritual seekers. They've established themselves alongside traditional fishing villages, where locals still practice ancient crafts like pottery and weaving. The economy balances. Modern tourism with traditional occupations like fishing, agriculture, and the production of cashew nuts and fenny, the potent local cashew apple liquor. Leaving behind Goa's coastal charm, we now ascend to the misty heights of the eastern Himalayas. Perched at 6,700 feet in West Bengal's Lesser Himalayas, Darjeeling stands as a living testament to British colonial influence blended with Himalayan majesty. This former summer retreat for British officials escaping India's scorching plains has evolved into a world-renowned tea production center with a unique cultural identity all its own. What makes Darjeeling tea so special isn't just clever marketing. It's the perfect combination of geography and technique. The tea gardens cascade down steep mountainsides at elevations between 2,000 and 2,500 meters, where cool temperatures and heavy rainfall create the ideal conditions for producing the world's most sophisticated black tea. Locals call it the champagne of teas for good reason, as its delicate floral notes simply can't be replicated elsewhere. The tea harvesting process here follows a meticulous schedule divided into 3 distinct seasons. The prized first flush in March-April yields delicate, lightly oxidized leaves with subtle floral qualities. The second flush, in May-June, produces a fuller-bodied amber brew with muscatel notes. By October, the autumn flush delivers a deeper, more mature flavor profile. Each harvest from the very same plants tastes remarkably different, a phenomenon only possible in this precise microclimate. Beyond the tea gardens, Darjeeling offers experiences found nowhere else in India. The Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, affectionately called the toy train, still chugs along narrow-gauge tracks through impossible curves and gradient changes. At dawn, travelers gather at Tiger Hill to witness. The sunrise illuminates Kanchenjunga's massive peak, a spiritual experience that transcends mere sightseeing. Darjeeling's position near multiple international borders has created a fascinating cultural mosaic. Walking through the town's winding streets, you'll hear conversations in Nepali, Tibetan, Bengali, and English. This diversity appears in everything from the faces you'll meet to the food you'll taste, particularly evident in the steaming momos, dumplings, and hearty thukpa noodle soup served in local markets. Trading mountain tranquility for metropolitan energy, our journey brings us to Mumbai, a peninsula where extremes don't just exist, but define the very fabric of daily life. In what other city could you witness colonial grandeur, ancient fishing traditions, and the world's most prolific film industry, producing over 1,000 movies annually, all compressed into a single chaotic, beautiful, urban tapestry? The city's skyline tells its story. Victorian Gothic structures from the colonial era stand alongside gleaming glass skyscrapers, while traditional fishing communities continue their centuries-old practices in the shadows of luxury developments. The city's contrasts are impossible to ignore. At the iconic Gateway of India, tourists gather to photograph the 1924 Arch Monument, while nearby, the architectural splendor of the UNESCO World Heritage Chhatrapati Shivaji terminus showcases Indo-Saracenic design. Meanwhile, approximately 60% of Mumbai's population lives in informal settlements despite the city's significant contribution to India's economy. One of Mumbai's most fascinating phenomena is the Dabawala system, a complex network of about 5,000 delivery men who transport around 200,000 home-cooked lunchees daily throughout the chaotic city streets with astonishing 99.99% accuracy. This remarkable system, operated through a unique color-coding method, exemplifies the ingenuity born of necessity that characterizes Mumbai. The city's vibrant street food culture acts as a social equalizer, bringing together people from all backgrounds. Whether you're savoring bhel puri along Chowpatty Beach or enjoying vada pav at a roadside stall, these culinary experiences connect you to Mumbai's heart. Mumbai attracts dreamers and strivers from across India, aspiring actors hoping for their Bollywood break, entrepreneurs seeking fortune, and ordinary people building better lives. This concentration of ambition creates an almost tangible energy that visitors can't help but absorb. Moving from Mumbai's urban intensity to Rajasthan's desert jewel, we discover a paradox that defies logic. A city of lakes flourishing in an arid landscape. Udaipur, Founded in 1559 as the Mewar Kingdom's defensive capital against Mughal invasions, has transformed from fortress to fantasy, earning its nickname Venice of the East through its shimmering waterways and marble palaces. The city's crown jewel, the Lake Palace, appears to float magically on Lake Pichola's surface. Originally built as a royal summer retreat, this architectural marvel now welcomes guests as a luxury hotel, offering visitors the chance to experience royal Rajasthani lifestyle firsthand. The palace gained international fame when it served as the exotic backdrop for the 1983 James Bond film Octopussy, transforming this 16th-century royal sanctuary into a global symbol of luxury and intrigue. What makes Udaipur truly special is how royalty and everyday life intertwine. Within the massive city palace complex, descendants of Maharajas still occupy private quarters, while tourists explore the peacock mosaics and crystal gallery in the museum sections. This delicate balance extends throughout the city, where traditional artisans practice centuries-old crafts like miniature painting, using brushes made from a single squirrel hair to create intricate works, while luxury hotels and restaurants cater to international visitors. The city faces unique challenges due to its desert location. Despite being known for its lakes, Udaipur must carefully manage its water resources, implementing conservation efforts to maintain the very features that define its identity. The surrounding Aravalli Range not only enhances the scenic beauty, but plays a crucial role in the local ecosystem and water management strategies. As evening falls, Udaipur transforms into a luminous wonderland. Palaces illuminated against the night sky cast golden reflections across the lake's dark surfaces. From the hilltop Monsoon Palace, visitors can witness the sun setting behind the city, painting the lakes and palaces in warm amber hues before they're replaced by the twinkling lights of the city below. As the golden reflections of Udaipur's palaces fade behind us, we venture into a realm where ancient history and wild nature create an extraordinary alliance. Ranthambore National Park spans 392 square kilometers of Rajasthan's wilderness, where the ruins of a 10th-century fort stand as silent witnesses to both human and natural history unfolding in their shadow. The safari experience here transforms visitors into explorers, bouncing along dusty trails in open-top jeeps at dawn and dusk, when wildlife activity peaks. These are the golden hours when tigers emerge from their daytime seclusion, often appearing near the lakes that punctuate the deciduous landscape. The sudden silence. When your guide cuts the engine, having spotted fresh paw prints in the dirt, creates a moment of electric anticipation that few other experiences can match. Beyond the famous Bengal tigers, Ranthambore offers encounters with leopards patiently watching from tree branches, sloth bears digging for termites, and over 300 species of birds painting the sky with flashes of color. The park's lakes host crocodiles basking on shores once frequented by medieval royalty, while troops of monkeys chatter among crumbling temples and ancient hunting pavilions. What makes Ranthambore truly unique is this seamless blending of wildlife with historical monuments. Tigers patrol through structures once walked by kings, creating a surreal tableau where nature reclaims human artifacts. The emotional impact of witnessing a tiger in this setting, perhaps cooling itself in a lake beside a centuries-old pavilion, combines fear, respect, and profound privilege in a way that photographs simply cannot capture. Community initiatives like Dhonk, a workshop employing former poachers' wives, demonstrate how conservation's success depends on local involvement. These programs help transform potential adversaries into wildlife advocates while providing sustainable livelihoods. Despite such progress, the delicate balance between tourism revenue, local economic needs, and tiger conservation remains an ongoing challenge. While Ranthambore showcases wildlife in an accessible setting, our next destination takes us to where the earth meets the sky. Imagine traveling to a place so high that every breath reminds you of your human limitations, where the landscape seems more Martian than earthly. Ladakh, often called Little Tibet, sits in India's northernmost reaches, where the mighty Indus River carves its path through an otherworldly landscape. This trans-Himalayan region exists in a rain shadow, creating a high-altitude desert where communities have adapted to some of the most extreme conditions on Earth. What makes Ladakh truly remarkable is how its isolation has preserved a way of life that reflects authentic Tibetan Buddhism, perhaps more purely than in Tibet itself. In monasteries like Thixi, monks continue centuries-old debates on Buddhist philosophy, their crimson robes bright against whitewashed walls, while maintaining traditions of creating intricate sand mandalas, sacred geometric designs painstakingly created from colored sand only to be ceremonially destroyed upon completion. The region's unique agricultural practices demonstrate human ingenuity at its finest. Farmers have developed sophisticated terrace farming and crop rotation techniques that maximize limited water resources in this desert environment. These agricultural systems represent the profound connection between spiritual practice and practical survival that defines Ladakhi culture. What visitors often find most transformative is how the physical challenges of Ladakh create deep appreciation for human resilience. The thin air at elevations, above 10,000 feet, transforms simple activities into conscious efforts. The dramatic temperature swings, blazing sun that can burn exposed skin within minutes, giving way to freezing temperatures after sunset, demand constant adaptation. The geopolitical reality adds another layer of complexity to Ladakh's story. Its position along sensitive borders has led to significant military presence in the region, creating an unusual juxtaposition of ancient monasteries and strategic outposts, traditional villages and military convoys. Unlike Ladakh's isolated monasteries, our next destination actively invites the world to its doorstep. In Amritsar, the shimmering Harmandir Sahib rises from the center of a sacred pool, its gold-plated exterior reflecting like molten sunlight across the water. This isn't just a beautiful structure, it's the beating heart of Sikhism, where the principles of equality and service transform from abstract concepts into living practice. What makes the Golden Temple extraordinary isn't just its architecture, but the remarkable system operating within its walls. Every day, the temple's massive kitchen transforms nearly 12,000 kilograms of flour into chapatis, serving meals to visitors without a single question about their background. Here, CEOs sit cross-legged beside laborers on the same floor, sharing the same simple meal prepared by volunteers who believe that feeding others is itself a form of worship. The temple's museum documents moments of struggle alongside triumph, preserving memories of challenging periods in Sikh history while the daily flow of service continues uninterrupted. Perhaps most striking is how the temple dissolves boundaries between sacred and practical. Spirituality isn't separated from everyday acts, but expressed through them. A doctor might spend hours chopping vegetables beside a farmer, washing dishes, each participating in seva, selfless service, regardless of their status in the outside world. As we've journeyed across India's vibrant landscape, one truth becomes increasingly clear. Experiencing these destinations in your formative years leaves an indelible mark on your worldview. Research shows that travelers who immerse themselves in diverse cultural experiences before 30 develop significantly enhanced cognitive flexibility and problem-solving abilities. This isn't merely about collecting Instagram-worthy moments. It's about fundamentally reshaping how you perceive human possibility. When you witness firsthand the myriad ways societies organize themselves, from the communal kitchens of the Golden Temple to the sustainable farming practices of Ladakh, you gain something psychology. Studies have confirmed is invaluable. The understanding that your own cultural framework is just one of countless valid approaches to life. These early travel experiences foster adaptability and empathy that become increasingly essential as you navigate both personal and professional challenges throughout life. So as you contemplate your next journey, remember that what awaits in India isn't just scenery or monuments, but a profound education in human potential, one that will continue revealing its lessons long after your passport stamps have faded.